Oh, I'm so excited. We have a brand new guest this week. We have Elyse Fox, the founder of Sad Girls Club, the creator of Teen Vogue's Soft Launch, and I just think she's amazing. She's also a film director, and she's going to talk a bit about that in this meeting today. But first things first, hi Elyse, how are you?
Hi, Bree. I'm doing good today. I feel like this
Right?
week flew by, but overall
Yeah.
feeling good. How you
How are
doing?
you? I'm doing good. How are you feeling about the first day of spring or second day of spring?
I'm ready. I feel like I don't know. I don't mind winter. Like I'm one of those people who do not mind winter, but I
Okay.
do. I was missing like the sun because we had, you in the city, we had like 2 weeks just cloudy days, and I wasn't with it. So I'm happy for the
Yeah.
sun to be back, but I don't mind the winter. It
Yeah.
helps you slow down.
Yeah, I feel like that's when I'm in the house the most, but I will say I'm in the house during the spring too because I have really bad allergies. I was reaching for my Zyrtec for y'all that can see. I keep my Zyrtec on me because spring
Stress.
it's my favorite season because that's when my birthday is, but me and pollen don't get go together at all.
Oh.
But anyway, I know I spoke a little bit about what you do, but can you tell me a bit, like a tiny bit overview of your career and how you got to where you are now?
I am, like, where do I start? I I'm a film girl, like always been a
Hmm.
lover of film photography, film in general, and like the beauty of like just being able to create your own world.
Yeah.
So I was very much like an art weirdo my entire life before it was even like a thing. Like I'm the youngest in my family, and I always just been the one that was just doing something to the left when everybody else was going to the right. So
Same.
I love like in high school I like majored in advertising arts, and now I'm I'm a little older. So back then it was like we literally had to create our own campaigns like by hand, like draw out what an actual marketing or a billboard would look like in a city. And now
Wow.
obviously marketing is done on computers, but like that's what I was always into, like just creating the fantasies that like lived in my mind, and I continued that um into college, studied production in college, and then I went to Long Island University, Buffalo
Oh,
State
cool.
College.
Okay.
Yeah, for a hot second. And then I went to Buff State. And
Uh-huh.
then I'm like, how did I, the transition from film is like, wow, what I do now is wow. So
Yeah.
after I was done with school in Buffalo, I actually didn't finish in Buffalo. I
Mhm.
moved to Los Angeles to like actually pursue film because I was like, I need to learn in the moment. Like I can't, I feel like I was in class doing all of my classmates' homework because I was like, I just want to practice. I just want to
Yeah.
get more experience. And I was like making coins. I was doing everyone's homework. Like I'll edit this for you. And I love editing. So I was just
Yeah.
kind of like, why am I paying to do people's homework? I'm gonna
Yeah.
go and get real life experience. So I moved to Los Angeles,
Let's go.
and I actually worked on Separate Criminal Minds for a couple seasons, but I was in like wardrobe. I was trying to get into the editing bay, and then it just never happened. And while I was in LA, I created my own films, and I would literally like, I had like my own company called Pretty Smart Girls, and I created
Yes.
documentaries in Los Angeles about young artists, young like women who are artists. They're telling their
Mhm.
stories from like their perspective, and like just tell I know I just like love the art of documentaries, and I feel
Yeah.
like I don't see enough like black ones that are just like in the street, like kind of like freestyle, like looking like a skate video kind of, but just
Yeah.
really in the moment. And that's the kind of films I want to always produce, are just like real raw. I love mainly unscripted things.
Yeah.
And today I am a mental health activist. That's what I do on my full time. But
Yeah.
at my core, I feel like where I'll end up is like still doing something creative in the film space.
Yeah, and that's because I was reading up on you a little bit and how you started Sad Girls was from a documentary you made, right? Did I make that right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And so, like, what was that transition like? Obviously, now you're a mental health advocate full time, but like, this is not what you set out to be. What was that transition like?
Not at all. The transition was rough because I was really just living in my behind the scenes bag. Because you're a filmmaker, like you're in the business, like
Yeah.
you understand like the backside of it, and it's really like not glamorous at all. So I was
Yes.
doing that, and I was fine. I was like, this is cool. Like I love doing this. So to go from like being very behind the scenes and working on like personal projects, and just putting things out there that I just wanted to just do, like the documentary that I released. I didn't even watch it before I put it out. I was like, I'm just gonna edit this.
I'm screaming.
I, I could not watch it, and I put it out, and I was like, oh, this thing is booming. It's lit.
Yeah, my legs to it.
And
Yeah,
it's like my most unfinished project that like resonated the most with people. So I was like, you know
yeah.
what? You got to keep it, because I was very much overthinking that edit, and I
Mm,
re-edited it like multiple times, which is why a lot of it is like voiceover.
yeah,
And I was like, but the more raw you are, I feel like the more it connects with people, and that just shows
yeah.
you.
And that's what people resonate with. Do you have a favorite filmmaker, film director that you can think of? That like I know you said there are not a lot of like us on the scene, but like is there anybody that you kind of look up to?
I like, because, and also this is my dilemma too, because there aren't many
Yes.
black or female directors. A lot of my favorites are white men because they are the majority.
That's
But I say that to
fine.
say, and also I don't. It's like I don't know, but I don't really like the new like recycled movies, like the movies that have already been done. Like I love
Yeah,
very
sorry.
much. I love a classic, so I'm very
Yeah,
biased too. Where I'm like, I don't know. Let's just leave things alone. But
yeah,
I would say like it's very, I don't obvious, but like Issa is definitely an easy one, where it's like just you being yourself, being an awkward black girl, like can get you where you need
yeah,
to be, or like where you're destined to be. So I love her
yeah.
like authenticity, of course,
Hmm.
but I also like really like dark movies. And my favorite movies like Kids and
Okay.
Requiem for a Dream and like The Shining. Like, I really love, because I like the editing style of it. I'm more of like I like the transitions, less of like, I love the stories, but like I get caught up with like the edits of movies.
Did you see and I know people my friends who are like filming like that are into it. I like to just go to a movie and enjoy myself, but I know my friends who are really into it. They feel a type of way about these movies. But I recently just saw Imaginary last night. It's about the teddy bear that's like an imaginary friend. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No,
It's
it's
a
scary.
yeah, it's a scary movie, but I thought it was the whole point is that it's about like an imaginary friend who like is on the dark side, but like I thought like the imaginary world they created was really cool. Maybe it's because it's the first time I'd seen it in like a scary movie film, and usually the Conjuring stuff
Mm,
when they go through the doors and stuff. I think that's really fun. But yes, but yeah, I feel like I know what
okay,
you mean.
I'm gonna look into it. Yeah,
You should check it out. I thought it was fun, but like I said, I'm not.
you like, I thought it was a
My,
great children's movie.
my favorite movie franchise is Fast and the Furious, so I don't have like. So I just want to put that out
Agree.
there before you go watch. I don't want to like get
Okay.
your
Does Shania
expectations.
know this? Does Shania know this?
Janai doesn't need to know that. But back to you and everything. Can you tell me a bit more about like now that like we've gotten to the part about your creation of Sad Girls Club, can you tell me a bit about like your goals for it and like what like you seek to accomplish with each event?
So with Sad Girls Club, the intention behind it was to create community and like an open conversation around something that we all feel really insecure about, which is like our mental health or like lack thereof sometimes. So with SGC, we started off just having events, like super low budget, but like still cute, like you wouldn't have known. Like low budget on my end, but you never knew. But we had like little, basically we had like little, we would have small meetups around like a specific theme or form of like art therapy. Like I'm not an art therapist, so I never call it art therapy. I'm like, let's just create something and like have a conversation. And then I realized, like I was talking to a friend, I was like, I'm kind of like the AA, the Alcoholics Anonymous of like mental health. Like people come, they
Yeah,
get, have some snacks, have a
yeah,
conversation, they get to tell their story, they build
yeah.
community, and then they go into the world. And I was like, I want to be that for like our generation where it's like, no, it's actually like mad cool to like go to these meetings and like meet people. And you
Hmm.
can just come once. And that's the cool thing about like our programming too. It's like some people just come once and they get their camera off. And then by like sometimes the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 10th meeting, they'll turn their camera on. And it's like, oh, I'm so comfortable with you people that like I literally just know through my computer screen over the past 10 weeks or so I want to turn
Yeah,
my camera on for you. And it's really beautiful to see people kind of like come out of themselves or like really or lean into themselves, I guess I should say, through Sad
yeah,
Girls Club. So it's working and it's working in different ways. And a lot of times I don't see the impact because everything is so digital now because
yeah,
post COVID. But
yeah.
the intention has always been to build community authentically.
Yeah, I like I went to Friendsgiving and I helped out like cuz I do love I know people have thoughts on volunteering, but I like helping out. I went to the one during last summer at 88 Scott. I'm forgetting the name of it. But I
It
love
was 99 Scott.
Yeah, 99 Scott. And I always have the bag. So like whenever you see me, you're like, I see it. Like because I feel like your events always feel like a warm hug. And I think that that's so, as someone, I'm a social girl. And so I've been to a lot of things. And I think that's very hard to curate, especially, just like being a Black woman in the mental health space. I think that that's very hard, at least from the outside looking in. And I feel like what you set out, I feel like you accomplish really well. And that's also one of the reasons why I was like, I have to chat with you because I think you're really cool. But I really do love your events. So I think what you have set out, I feel like I feel seen and I feel heard. And I brought one of my friends to the Friendsgiving, and she was like, "This is so amazing! Like, it's just
Oh,
everybody's so kind, and that's it's just really hard to curate an event like that. So I just want to give you your flowers in that way."
thank you. Thank you so
Of
much. And
of course,
my team, they,
yeah,
I feel like I'm with like a good group of people and they all, like, we're all on the same page. We all are like very mission driven. And when you have a team that's like, we know what the mission is, we
yeah,
know there's many ways to get there, but like, let's move together and see how we can get there the easiest and fastest way. Is this a
yeah,
recipe for success? So even I'm happy you enjoyed it. Like we spent a lot of time. I'm always like
yeah.
all these ideas on a board, and everyone's like, come to reality. Like we could do this, we could do this. So when I see people's reaction to it, I'm like, oh, see, look, it
Yeah.
works. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Since you speak so highly of your team, can you tell me a bit about like what that's like building that out and like how you know when someone's a right fit for it?
I am definitely like a very untraditional CEO. And I'm always like, because for one, I care so much, and I feel like not that a lot of CEOs don't, but like a lot of CEOs don't really care about
Yeah.
people. But I care a lot, so I do care about people's like, yes, their like experience in work is very important, but also their
Mhm.
life experience means 1,000 times more to me too.
Yeah.
Especially as somebody who doesn't have that like degree, but also I have certifications, qualifications, and also lived experiences that makes me, like my perspective is valuable in this space. So
Mhm.
with my team, obviously I look at experience and like what they've done and what their goals are. I'm also interested in like philanthropy and like what if they support any other organizations, like who are they and why, and what are they into, what are their passion projects, everything that makes them like a whole human, because it is, especially because we work hybrid, or not even
Yeah.
hybrid really, we maybe meet in person like once a month, that you
Mhm.
really have to have that like good I don't know, not, I don't want to say energy, but like basically good energy for us to
Yeah.
for everybody to like work and be on the same page in a certain way. Not saying we're like babying each other and like, it's not, it's definitely a healthy work environment, but it's not, I just don't throw all types of personalities together, because I know
Yeah.
that they might work for the short term, but like sometimes it
Long.
could cause like longer, longer term issues.
Yeah.
So I'm also with my team, I'm like, this might not be like your last stop. Like, this is what we're doing. This is like our mission. This is our goals. And if you're here, this is the part you'll play in it. But I'm also
Yeah.
understanding like not everybody, especially like your generation, y'all try to be at a job for 9 months, and they're like, all right, I got the experience, guys. Can you write me a recommendation? I'm about to. So I'm
Yeah.
fully aware that like you're gonna go out and get a bottle of milk and then, or a gallon of milk and never come back. Like that's Gen Z.
I don't. In my defense, I don't think it's ever intentional. I think that's
like
just
like cross the boundary, and I had to.
listen. And I listen. I think also there are a lot of factors that go into it. Like I feel like, yeah, I have no
I
good
get
thought.
you. I
I
get it.
just
I fully understand.
that's how it is. But that's amazing. So y'all are a team of four now, right? Or
So there's myself, executive director Muna,
mhm.
operations manager Shania, social media manager Tahira, and then we just brought on a new event producer, Leslie, who's in Los Angeles. And then we have
Yeah.
like therapists we work with that are all around the country.
Uh huh.
Um and yeah, so we're about internally we're a team of 5,
Yes.
and our like we have 4 therapists on our staff, and then like a ton within our like one-to-one therapy scholarship program ecosystem.
Yeah. And so how with that growing, how do you see that growing alongside your film career?
That's the thing. So for a long time I was like, how can I get back to doing film? Like I love the work that I do, but I miss the
Yeah.
creative part of it. But I
Yeah.
was like, the thing is, it's also like I'm also Buddhist, so I also feel like everything has to be in balance. And I do
Hmm.
feel like the more you're able to give, the better you'll be in life when when you'll get what you deserve, or like what you earn when you're ready for it. So I'm also like, I'm down to like give as much as I possibly can until I
Hmm.
feel like the absolute urge, where like, okay, like I need to like transition to a different space. Like now I want to receive. So now
Hmm.
I feel like I'm in a really receiving mood, where now I've been able to like have the team that can support basically all the goals, the ideas, and the future of SGC.
Yeah.
Whether I want to take like a day or two off, or like work on a passion project for like a week out of the month, you know what I mean? I have that
Yeah.
team now. So with me doing my best and like really putting all my energy into Sad Girls Club and building it out and building community, now I have the leverage to like get back into film. So right now I'm, actively like looking for opportunities and just trying to like, dive back in.
I love that for you. What would be your like ideal opportunity, like next one for film? What would be your ideal opportunity?
So I have a project that I am like working on, and it's to kind of get my feet wet back into film, and it'll be
Hmm.
a podcast, like video podcast
Yeah.
with like a more like vlog component, like documentary vlog component built
Yes.
into it. But like the storytelling will be around like myself as a traveler, mother,
Mm-hmm.
model, influencer, and then also the mental health work that I do, um, and really showcasing like womanhood, but also talking about like the girlhood that got me to this point. Because many people only know me as like a mom or
Yeah.
the founder of Sad Girls Club. Like, but there's a huge a lot of life before then, a lot of stories, a lot of lessons learned. So I want to go back and like, retell some of those stories, chat with friends, chat with other, creatives, and talk about like their stories, and do it from a perspective of like girlhood for Black women. Because I don't see a lot of like Black women podcasts that lets you actually like talk about your mess without fearing cancellation or whatever. Like you have to be this one type
Yes.
of person.
Yes.
I'm a bunch of type of people. Like, you know what I mean? I can hang out with a bunch of people and I'll be fine. And I think
Yeah.
like those stories shouldn't be, I don't know, you shouldn't be so ashamed of like where you came from, you know?
Yeah. Listen, I'm excited. I was just talking to Priscilla of Sadie Baddies, and she's doing something not quite similar, but she's gonna go into the space of like wanting to do something in person. And I'm not snitching. She literally said
Good.
it on the phone. So I'm very intrigued to see what that space is about to look like for you both. I'm very excited. And speaking of like new opportunities, it's not really new at this point, but can you tell me a bit about like how you got to do the soft launch with Teen Vogue and like what that experience has been like?
Soft launch, my newest baby, launched January 2024. So
Okay.
it's a full circle moment for real. So
Yeah.
when I first launched Sad Girls Club, I was approached by like within like a couple months, I was approached by the founders of Instagram. They reached out and they were like, "Hey, like
Mm.
you're using Instagram for the what, like for the purpose that we intended it for people to
Yeah.
find people and then get off the app and go do stuff with those people." So they're like, "We're doing a campaign in May for Mental Health Awareness Month. Blah blah blah. Do you want to be a part of it?" And I said yes. So with that, there was a bunch of like press that came out with it. I had never done press before. I was like, I'm model, but like you don't speak. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, press is a good story. So my first interview was actually with Teen Vogue, and I was like, they didn't even have my name. It was like Instagrammer. Like it was just like, all right, cool, no name,
What?
but bet I'm in Teen Vogue. So that
Yeah.
happened. That's like 2017, and
Okay.
then I've always been in contact with Teen Vogue because we share a similar audience. Like whatever they need, like we just always in communication with Condé Nast. And over the
Yeah.
past like 2 years, we've been trying to do something with SGC specifically. And I was like, I think that like instead of us making this like a heavy partnership, like I'm down to like just do something like with Teen Vogue. And I said this last year, like early, like
Yeah.
January last year.
Yeah.
And then I get an email around like Christmas of 2023, and it's with the same editor who wrote the first article about me for Teen Vogue like 7 years ago.
Oh
And she's asking
wow.
like, "Do you want to be a part of this? Like, we're launching a wellness column. We want you to be the writer for it. You know, it could be your own column,
Yeah.
and you got the job basically." And I was like, "Say
Period.
less, say less." So I started the next month. I was literally on my birthday vacation. Started the next month, and I was like, "Okay, we're here." But it's been nice. It's fun. I don't consider
Yeah.
myself a writer for sure, but it's definitely been a good challenge.
Most people, I go to this writing club once a month, and I do too many things, but I
No.
find that I find that a lot of writers don't consider themselves writers. So I feel like you
Mhm.
are a writer simply from you being like, I'm not sure if I am one, because I think people have this idea of what a writer is in their head, and I think it's closely tied to
Mm.
it's tied to consistency and accolade, and I think that like you using your platform and like you like giving a voice to mental health specifically in the lens of Black womanhood, Black girlhood, you're giving a perspective that makes you a writer. You're writing, so I think you're a
Mm.
writer. I'll give you that.
I like
me the
that.
me the spokeswoman for writing.
I like your breakdowns.
But yeah, I love that. So do you have like a favorite piece that you've done thus far? I know we're only on the third month, but like, is there anything that you felt like most special about it thus far?
I would say the first one was why you don't need to reinvent yourself every
Mm-hmm.
year. Because I feel
Yeah.
like that's always a conversation that like you only really can have at the end of the year. So it's like the timing of it has to be like perfect. And also it's a message that I want like people to just understand. Because a lot of people, I think a lot of people in my circle at least, come like February 1st, they're like, it's Happy New Year. It's the first day of the new year for me. And then mid March, like, okay, Happy New Year. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I love it. Like, no, no, no. Things I'm gonna start the new year when I want to start it. And I love that energy and that like not feeling the pressure. There's so many pressures in the world that we mainly create for ourselves, and that's one of the biggest ones I feel like. So,
Yes.
and also I'm just like, why do we feel like we got to do triple? Oh, I'm gonna do double next year. It's like, can you relax? We're
Me
not like
too.
racehorses. Like unless
No.
it's like I want to do more good for myself or good for the community or good for like whatever. But like I do feel like you don't need to reinvent your entire self. And that also came off. I was writing that article. I think I started it when I was on my birthday vacation, and
Yeah.
then I had gone back to New York City, kept writing, and then I had got invited to Ghana, and I kept writing in Ghana. So it was a lot of like it touched a lot of it touched a lot of places, and I was like literally submitting it. I think the draft on my way home, like from
Yeah.
Ghana, and I was like, this is like special. I like this.
I love that. I am someone who gets caught up in resolutions, and then I do think it's because I'm an Aries and we're the top of the
Mm.
zodiac. I love like to have a goal and achieve it. Like I love crossing things off my list, but I'm trying to do better at not letting resolutions get to me. And I love that
Yeah.
the
It's
idea of
one thing
being
to have them, but don't let them get to you. It's like you set this up. You could erase it, and it's all good.
yeah. I'm trying to work on the erasing it part. I want to. I'm too goal oriented. I think, but that's neither here nor there.
That's me at a
I,
job interview. Like, what's one negative thing about you?
right. Me being like, I'm a perfectionist, you know?
I do so well.
But speaking of like all of the opportunities and experiences you've had and like the community that you want to build within and like around Girls Club, what is the importance of community to you and what has it been the impact on Sad Girls Club?
Community to me are people that I can be my most authentic self with.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be people who are blood related or could be blood related, but just
Mm-hmm.
people you can count on to always like uplift you, but also check you, also vibe
Yeah.
check you, also, support you.
Yeah.
And that's always been something I think, as humans in general, we're always looking for community in a space that feels like ours.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think we lose a bit of that as we age because we're just so like we're very goal oriented. So we're just like trying to check off the next thing.
Yeah.
And we're not really living in the moment as we used to as children. There was an article, I think, in Atlantic that spoke about this, about like, we don't like as adults, we don't set time for spontaneity. Obviously that sounds interesting, but like when kids go outside, they're not like, I'm going to go outside, I'm going to run 5 houses and I'm going to go to this side. They just run and then they go dig up stuff in the backyard. And I'm learning through like my son that like, do like just having spontaneity, like just like Bree, can we make it? Because they said it was like not parents, adults don't understand when so if someone were to make a plan with them and there's no like goal or like set agenda, like okay, if you're going to brunch, you're gonna have brunch, but you can't just say
Yeah.
meet me at the park
Yeah.
at these coordinates at the swing. You're like, why? But
Yeah.
like
It's
we
like,
don't
bro, I
set
got
time for
stuff to
that fun.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm always
Yeah.
like leaning into that now, and I think that pours into Sad Girls Club, is just like creating time for you to have connection, for you to have these conversations you thought you couldn't have, for you to have like a support system you thought never existed. So I
Mhm.
do think that it's like, it definitely goes hand in hand.
Love that. And then do you have any like advice for young girls like that you wish you kind of knew like now that you know at your age like who want to balance career and mental health? I'll be more specific. Yeah. I'll say that specifically.
I would say you always have to make it a consistent priority because I lose
Mhm.
track sometimes. Like I'm good for like a week straight, 10 days, and
Mhm.
then I slowly decline. I stop like doing my full bedtime routine. So like maintain the consistency of you going to work the same way you do your mental health. So I think that it should be that you should have that balance in your life. And then also use that vacation time. I know so many people who don't use their vacation time or their sick days or their personal
Yeah.
days. Like use it because it's there for you. And you can also like typically for a job if you're full time, you can like set aside 1 day a month. You know what I mean? For just like spontaneous play in the city or like looking around, like just exploring or a gallery day using
Mhm.
just like a day off, a personal day or a Monday holiday, you know? And I think that like we have to schedule in our happiness and our joy the same way we schedule all of these meetings and we block our calendars and we overbook ourselves. Like we should be overbooking ourselves with like enjoyment too. So prioritize
Yeah.
that. And I think everything else falls into place. Like when you're at your happiest, your best, I do think that like good comes to you.
Yeah. No, I love that. And another question I have for you, the context being when I graduated college, like I felt like I really struggled, just because like some personal things and also like I just needed a bit of guidance. So I really was like in need of a mentor. Do you feel like you have found that, or what does mentorship look like for you if it's not like one concrete person?
I do have mentors.
Hmm.
I would say my mentors are like people who are way more well versed in the subject than I am. Like I love people who know way more than me and being around people who are just like so bright and can just like put me on to things.
Hmm.
So I do have all types of mentors, like Laura, my girl
Yeah.
Sharifa,
Uh-huh.
my girl Muna, who like works with me. It's like I get such like unique perspectives where I'm like, you know what? And I trust the perspectives. So
Yeah.
I think it's very fueling. My mentors, I'm like, just have people around you that know
Yeah.
so much more than you and have like so much life experience. Um,
Hmm.
and could just like who are willing to teach you and like pour into you because it's like sometimes the things that are so nuanced that you just see them do or like how they maneuver move in and out of situations. I think is like part of like mentorship too.
Yeah, like I was like Shania, I keep saying was my mentor. I still ask her a bunch of questions, but like she was saying she was like I feel like I haven't helped you as much as I thought I would, and I think that's because she saw it in a concrete way. And I was like I think ultimately I don't want to be like a like in this stage of my life, I don't want to be a film producer. So that makes sense. Like I did not produce a film. However, you've introduced me to so many people like Muna, you like and you've opened my mind up to a world that I would not have necessarily known prior to meeting you. So mentorship, I do 1000% agree with you. It can look different from everybody as long as it's
Yeah.
someone who's like a subject matter expert, I find. So I love that. I appreciate that. And then one last question I have for you is very low stakes, but can you tell me what your typical morning routine is like?
Oh man. It's not good. No, I wake up like 6:15 and then I just start running my son's bath water. And then
Hmm.
I could literally go back into my bed and like meditate. I try to just meditate, count to 100. And
Yeah.
because I know I'm gonna have to try to wake him up like 4 times. Then I do that, get
Yeah.
him ready for school. His school is deep from where I live. So I drive him to school. We play games. I'll listen to Hot
Oh,
97. And then when I
period.
come back home, it's around like 9:30 a.m.
Yeah.
And then I get ready for my day. So I like will take my time. If I need to like hop in the shower because I took a quick shower, do that. And then I like to
Yeah.
exfoliate. You're not supposed to do
Yeah.
it every day, but I do it every day. I don't know.
Oh,
So
I
I
was gonna say I
exfoliate and
thought
then I do my listen, I do
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, but it's just sugar. It's fine.
Yeah.
I got like a 6 step skincare routine. I do that every single morning, no matter what how I'm feeling. I always do that. Um,
Mhm.
and then I try not to like read any emails or start any work until 10 a.m. And then I don't
Nice.
hop on social media until like 11 a.m. Most mornings.
Yes.
And
I
yeah,
sorry.
no, go ahead. That's
No,
it. That's it.
No, 'cause I feel like I downplay it, but I feel like I'm very tapped into you. And I remember at the Envision Fest, you were saying how like you have you have to rework your relationship with social media. And I was so curious about like how you do that because sometimes I've taken like years off and then I'm back on.
Ooh.
Then because I work on it, yeah, and then I because I work on it like professionally at different brands and stuff like that, that messes up my relationship with it. And I know we've like
Oh
met,
yeah.
like, we've DM'd about it, and I'm always like,
Yeah.
I feel like my relationship with social media is ever evolving. So I was so glad I wanted to know also how it was in your routine because I was curious about that. That's
Yeah.
girl.
I mean, I have my moments because I have favorites too because it's like I have a lot of platform, not a lot, but I have platforms, but I don't use X hardly
Yeah,
ever. I'm hardly
no,
on
that makes sense.
Threads. So I have my favorites. TikTok is definitely, I'm always like, it's not really bad because I'm like learning a new recipe and I'm using that as like my Google now. So when I need to like
Yeah,
find a nice park, like to go to, in between calls, like things like that, I use TikTok for that. So I was like, that's literally my search engine. So I use it as
yeah.
much as people would use Google for anything. And then
Period.
Instagram, it's easy for me to get bored on Instagram because it's like work. I think I said this before. I don't know if it was at Envision Festival, but like if you treat social media like, since it is my job, like work, I would not go into a job and start folding clothes on my day off. Like I would not be entering a store at like, oh, I'm up late. Let me go. It's 11
Yeah,
p.m. Let me go into this store and like start sweeping the floors. No, if you're
yeah,
off, you're off, and you have to like do that in your mind. And I think me having a son who also I'm very much like film, very analog girl. I love him watching like Barney and like Franklin and all those
yeah,
shows and things like that. But I also don't want him to rely on like technology. I want him to have he's gonna need it in school, I'm sure, like down the line when he's in middle school maybe or elementary school. But I want him
yeah.
to go outside all day in the summertime and be tired and come back like dirty because he's
Yeah.
played outside all day. I don't want him worried about what TV show is on. Like I don't, I want him to be very much like enjoy childhood because this adult stuff is not as cute as I thought it was gonna
No,
be.
girl, and that rent that's due at the first of every month. No, I think about that all the time because I have a like my baby niece. She's like only like 7 months. She's really young,
Oh, she's
but I think
new.
yeah, she's fresh, but she doesn't act like it. But I like think of the world that they're in, and I'm like, I remember vivid memories of like block parties in Bed-Stuy, like riding up and down with my bike, like. And I don't, I'd like to think I'm still pretty young, but I feel like a lot of kids don't have like those
No,
memories like that. So and that's one of the reasons why I also love coming home to Virginia because I get to like, I feel like kids play,
play
especially like
outside. Yep.
they play outside, and I don't be seeing that. But that's a conversation for another day. I wanted to say thank you so much again for like taking the time to chat with Envision and Breeze Breakdown. Like I think all of the things you said gave like great tokens to the folks who are going to watch or listen to this podcast and see the clip that I upload. So I wanted to say thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Bree.
Oh my gosh.